Okay. So I am here. My voice is shot. My partner tripped a breaker in my office. So yeah, that's where you're at right now. Is my mic working in Discord? Let me check here. Do 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 do. Voice and video. Voice activity. Test. Okay. Test. Test. Okay. This is terrible. I hate this so much. Okay then. Echo cancellation off. Oh, that's so much better. Okay, cool. So my Discord voice should be working now. Can you hear me? If you can, please type. Yes, we are here for the Blender meetup, or the 3D modeling meetup. It's pretty much Blender because I'm in Blender these days. I did start things off early with other technologies, and but this became my favorite. You may be familiar with this interface, but I used it before they changed up to this interface, and it was indeed hell. I watched tutorials online where people basically like did their best with the old interface, and they had like the keys overlaid so you can see what keys they were pressing. And I just kind of watched a lot of speed modeling videos of people doing that with the keys shown and just paused them and tried to recreate what they created when I first played with Blender a lot. I found that helped a lot. So yeah, let's get this up here. Wait a minute. Oh, yes. So let's go. https://www.twitch.tv/Lilithe because this is an alternate panel. We're not on the main stream. We are on my stream. And I just kind of watched. There we are. I'm just gonna kill audio so it doesn't loop back. But I am hanging out in the Cozy Sloth Island world. Let's see. Do we have a group instance up? I did, but it died. So let us join. I'll just join the main one. I was gonna make a separate one for this, but yeah, we can join the main one. Although if people in there are currently enjoying the stream, I might have to make my own because, yeah, there's only one player, and I want to take one over for myself and all the lovely people who want to hang out and talk 3D modeling. So my Twitch, again, is twitch.tv/LilithLotor if you want to view my Twitch directly. I've got my chat up in another screen so you can see what's going on. Yay, I'm going to take it over. Master Pupper. Okay, maybe I'm not. Groups. Let us create a new instance.
For the elephant, I can really see that you started
Group.
Looking at the like you were highlighting those
yes,
dimensions.
all of this looks good.
You are going the route of making a new instance. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much for.
All right. So we can finally have our own instance. Yay. And then I'll share the instance ID in the overflow panel chat, which is where we are right now, in the CozyCon Discord. If you're not in the CozyCon online Discord, that's cozycononline.com, and there should be a link in there for the Discord. Gee, thanks. It's just, I hate when it does that. It's like loading. Doesn't even let you load before it's like timed out. Why would you time out while loading? That makes no sense. Here we go. That's just a really screwy decision by one of the programmers, basically. So let us travel. We shall travel up.
I do that all the time too. But it can be really fun, and it's a nice skill to level casually, so that when you ever want to draw backgrounds,
And let's see here.
you kind of have an idea how to
We're
do
burning
it.
daylight. I only have a half hour for this meetup, but if people want to bring up questions or anything, just point it in the Discord, or you can put it in my Twitch chat, and it should be all right. Yay! Okay then. I should be able to go to vrchat.com/home and grab my own instance ID. So there's the instance ID. I posted it in the chat if you want to join me. That is cool. Hi there.
Hi.
Kitless, do you have any specific questions or things you want to talk about with 3D modeling? Or are you just here for the
Not specifically. I'm gonna mute the video player before it starts looping back on me. I honestly, what I do is like only borderline 3D modeling. I don't actually do any modeling.
Yeah.
I edit UV maps for creative purposes.
Oh, that's cool. Editing UV maps is like an important skill, so, and a lot of people don't like to do it, so it's kind of great that you got that skill.
UV maps I can do, although I don't like doing my own unwraps either. I'm just like, let me rearrange the existing UV map in such a way that I accomplish an effect or optimize a lot out of the avatar. Video memory in particular.
I mean, to be honest, that's all that's all any of us are trying to do is just achieve an effect usually. But
Indeed.
It's good to learn the why and how of those things, and I think the thing that bakes people's noodle is like doing UV maps is a lot like papercraft, right? Where your 3D model is a bunch of triangles. You're just kind of like trying to unwrap that 3D shape into 2D in a way that doesn't stretch the material too much. So when you're UV mapping, do you use like the UV textures where it's just like a bunch of color blocks so it shows you what's stretched and not?
Not as much, no. Remember, I'm starting with a pre-existing UV map, and then I'm rearranging it, usually into like separate UV tiles.
Cool.
So like the type of thing where if you see those shaders around where you can toggle clothing on and off without adding additional materials.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, except for other purposes.
Well, that's pretty cool.
For example, the eyes on here was originally like a 2K texture.
Wow.
And I split it into a what was it? Like a 2x8 texture plus a 512 by 512 overlay for the runes.
Interesting. Maybe I have to show your character because I'm just seeing white. Oh, no, I see the runes.
Yeah, you have to get really close, otherwise mip maps make it go away.
I mean, they're still there. It's just like they're tiny yet. That's kind of
yes, cool. Yes, they're tiny.
Great. UV mapping, love it. I find it kind of a zen activity. I find a lot of the harder parts of 3D modeling fun these days, but I had to learn the fun. I had to I had to do it and just do it until I like got good enough that it didn't suck. So I found that
not quite there yet.
Yeah. Up on the street now is Blender, and I was working on. Oh, do I have it up here? No. Let me find it. Doot. I was working on something that I did not finish for this con, but I was working on a Mega Sloth avatar based on the sloth in the poster. I did not have time with all
Mm.
the world stuff that I was working on. But one thing you might notice here is I've kind of half done something called retopology. And this is like a tip that I wanted to talk to people about, especially because it saves so much time and makes it so much easier if you're learning to do topology over top of a sculpt. So if you have a smooth shape like this, you can download this thing called RetopofLow and get the version that's on GitHub. And it's free. It's absolutely free. And when you go edit active, it will show the mesh underneath. And then it just kind of allows you to draw a triangle or rectangles over top. So it makes it so much easier. So yeah, that's all of that's selected. What did I do there? Did I do something wrong? No, let's not quit. So that's sort of like the low poly thing underneath, and I guess this was a little higher poly, but what you can do is just be like poly strips. I want to hold down control, draw a strip of polygons all the way down his side, and it'll do it. If it does it, I must have done something wrong here. It might be complaining because I'm starting a new retopology even though I had one going, but so let's open up the one I had going here. It is sometimes buggy, so it's good to save often with retopoflow, but just the fact that it allows you to do this stuff, this is a bad example. I hate that it's being a jerk right now when I'm trying to demonstrate. It just opened their GitHub page. Thank you so much for that. Exit. I'm gonna have to close, and don't save. And I'll reopen Blender. I'm sorry you're getting a bit of a black screen there for a second.
No
Change to my
worries.
interstitial screen. Load it back up the Mega Sloth. Alright, so now let's just go. Okay, cool.
Is it just me, or is your Discord screen flipped horizontally?
My Discord screen?
Your Discord stream.
Is it flipped? Okay. So I went through all of the trouble of going through OBS and making flipped versions of everything because
There we go. Now we'll just have to check the Twitch stream in 30 seconds.
So is that better?
Yes.
Come on, Game Capture, you can do it. It's being a jerk to me. I don't understand it. So Blender is fixed. Interstitial. So is that say Lilith Lotor not flipped for you?
Now it is not flipped.
Okay. So it shows as flipped for me, which is why I went through the trouble of flipping all that stuff. Thank you, Discord, for making me think you were seeing the wrong thing.
Let's check the Twitch stream to make sure that it doesn't flip it for the Twitch stream.
Yeah.
3D
modeling I could do. Discord, no. Alright, so now we're in Blender. And you should be seeing it the right way around.
Yes.
Now you see my retopology on the screen. I'm sorry it's been so difficult for now. So let's say we're trying to do the contour from here to here. We can grab poly strips, you hold down control, and you just drag. And it makes a strip of polygons that follows the contour of your character. So that's a great place to start. And you can just shift. You hold down shift and scroll wheel, and you could change the number of divisions. So if you want it to be more fine, and that just makes it so much quicker. Like with retopoflow, taking a sculpt to like an actually usable model is way quicker. So that's one trick I wanted to share to people. I think everyone should try Retop Flow out. It's a great little plugin. Another one I use actually a lot is Node Wrangler, and it's not enabled by default. And I don't know why, because it comes with Blender. But if you just search for Node Wrangler will come up. Enable it, and when you're into shading, like when you're doing your materials. Oh, I'm in edit mode. Okay, it'll go anyway. Cool. Mega Sloth body. So you see how we have our principled BDSF here, and we can select it, and if you hold Control Shift T, you can bring up just a file browser, right? And let's find something that has a good material.
We can't see the file browser because you're only capturing the Blender window and not any other windows.
That's a good call. Let's go for a desktop. Do I have entire display one? Yes, I do. Cool. So now you're seeing the whole display. So I hit.
Yes.
Again, it's just like if you turn on Node Wrangler, Control Shift T brings up a file dialog, and you can just go into your projects. Like, let's say I'll find a PBR material somewhere, something nice. We'll go into models or a tree fort. Textures. No, that's not it. We'll go to this Cozy Sloth Island. There should be something in here. Wood. Yeah, here we go. So we got our albedo, AO for ambient occlusion, height map, metallic, our normal map, and roughness. You can select all of those as once. Principled texture setup is this button. You click it, boom, your whole material is set up. So that is like another sort of shortcut. This has not been UV mapped at all, obviously, but now we've got a nice physically based rendering wooden sloth belly, which is really silly, but you know, a really nice example of like things that you learn over time if you've done this for a while. I see a commander in the chat. Commander actually, Chevron has really improved his skills. He knows a lot of stuff about actually node-based shader creation that I don't. And I don't know if you want to say a thing or two, Chevron, but you're certainly welcome to. Can I unmute you? I'm not hearing anything from Chevron right now. And we are the only ones in the VR world. Let's flip back to the VR world.
There we go. Hello, Lilith. I'm sorry.
What are you sorry about?
I had push to talk on while in my VR headset. How you doing there?
Doing pretty good. You?
Oh, I'm doing good. So yeah, to respond, if you know, we got the stream going and all that good jazz. Yeah, Blender relies upon, like you said, node-based texture editing, and I don't know 100% all the ins and outs about it, but I can say that when it comes to trying to export from Blender to Unity, Unity doesn't know how to read a lot of those nodes. So if you're using Blender to make a world or an avatar or something like that, Lilith, I think you know.
Yeah.
I think you know the answer.
You
know the answer.
I remember when you ran into that, and I'm like, you need to make your PBR textures because that's how Unity is going to know how to use all of those things that you created.
That's when texture baking comes into play, absolutely, because Unity relies upon images for its materials versus all the nifty nodes that Blender uses. So get familiar with texture baking, people, and it's actually not as much of a pain in the butt as you think it is.
So yeah, Chevron, I'd love for you to share with me the tutorials that you did. I think you did a long time ago, but I've lost track of those. I want to get more into that because there's so much you could do creating your own like node-based shaders. Basically, you're basically making a shader with nodes that you would use here. It's the same as if you go into Unity and use something like a shader tool or whatever it's called. I can't remember right now.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sick, but yeah.
It's all right. Yeah, but what I did, based on what the tutorials that I found, you're essentially converting all of the nodes into images. So yeah, if you go to input there, that's it, and you search for let me see. Yeah, if you go to your find option in the node menu, yeah, you type in the word image. There you go.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Oh really?
you just go add
Yeah.
texture. You can make it an image texture.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, yeah, you got it. So, yeah, you're essentially just converting all the nodes into a single image, and you're baking it into that image texture node, and that's how Unity is able to read uh, the materials and the textures that are exported from Blender.
Yep.
It's a little tricky for me to explain it, with me standing in my play space with the headset on my head and not sitting down at my computer, but
Oh
that's
yeah,
basically
yeah.
the start of it.
You're good.
Yep.
But yeah, like that's how you do it with images. Um, uh, do you remember off the top of your head something fun that you've did let's just have some fun here.
Yeah.
We can make a texture out of a Voronoi texture. Let's see what it looks like.
I'm trying to think. Actually, yeah, just recently I learned about emissions
Yeah.
in Blender. So I'm working on my own world, and I'm trying to make my own texture based on a hexagon pattern. And I kind of found out accidentally what all of the different nodes in the principled BSDF start to do with
Mm-hmm.
respect to metallic, roughness, and emissions. And I was able to go into Photoshop and modify some of the images to do, to get a little bit closer to what I was looking to achieve. But playing around with emissions in Blender versus Unity is really fun. That's really entertaining. All the different patterns and effects you can create.
I think play is the right word there too, because when you just like go in here and make a material, like you're playing around, make a new file that you don't care about, and mess around, that's like the best way to teach yourself, right? You can do some
Oh yeah.
tutorials and things, but make sure even like when you've looked at the tutorials, just play a lot, make
Oh yeah.
stuff, break stuff, save an extra
Absolutely.
file.
Absolutely. And the lot of what I know, I taught myself, or I asked other people that were in the communities that I was involved with. I got my start talking to a girl named Astral Mimi, who makes her own worlds and such. And over 3 months, she taught me how to make a badge, literally, vertex by vertex, and drawing it out point by point.
Cool.
And then now I'm making my own world, and a lot of the information that I know I found from YouTube, or I talked to communities like Waterwolf. Those are some of the most technically minded people on the face of the planet.
Oh
And
yeah.
if you can get yourself involved with a great community that knows what they're doing, then you're gold. Any questions you've got, they will help you out. They'll point you in the right direction, or they'll point you into the direction of somebody who knows the answer. So yeah, get involved with communities. Shake your friend trees.
I love that as a point because that's like the fastest way I've ever learned was getting to be a part of the VR chat community, and just like getting people to comment on the things that I've made or asking questions is just such a huge help. What is our time check? Oh, it's 5:28. We've almost burned all the time already. Well, I'm happy a couple of you came to show up for this. I wasn't expecting much at all. And Astra asked a question at the beginning, but I think Astra might have taken off because of my power issues that I had at the beginning. Are there any good resources for drawing swords? Literally, drawing swords. How I learned was looking up Maya tutorials a long time ago. But the summary is, you go online, you find a picture of sword. This is how I do a lot of my modeling. So if you want to start at modeling, just do this. Grab this crappy Halloween sword. Sure. Let's save a copy of that image. I don't know if that'll work, but standard battle sword. And then we would Shift A to add. Let's add an image. We'll add it as a reference. Go to my downloads folder, and it is battle sword. Standard battle sword. Yay! So we have a sword. So we've got our default cube here. I didn't delete it. I'm going to delete the light though. Camera and light, because I'm not going to need those. Because I'm not rendering anything. We're using this for a video game. So what you saw me do there, sorry, I meant to describe my process, is click, you got to select it to affect it. So you click your box, hold down Z, and you get this little menu to show how you're rendering it. Let's go to wireframe. You let go, and you've got a wireframe. You press tab to get into edit mode, and literally you can just delete the back because you don't need the back right now. Press X for vertices, A to select all. You can press 1 on the numeric keypad, or you can click these to look at the front and back. Y minus coming forward is what you want to see if you're looking at the front. Yeah, and then you just literally drag these points around. So S to shrink, G to grab and move around, S to shrink, G to grab and move around, S to shrink. Can we make a 2-minute sword? Probably not. Oh no, we're already at 5:30. Let's just go over time. I pressed E here, and that gives me these extra 2 points coming out of the edge. So I'll stop. I'll redo. Yeah. So to select something, click, drag. But that only works if your select box is in select box mode. So let's be in select box mode, press E, drag it downward, and I want to go this way, so I'm going to press Z. Whoops, I pressed the wrong button. G, Z. There we go. And now it's exactly in the right spot, so I'll go whoop. And then Control R will give you a ring basically around the object. And you're going to do that maybe a few times up here too, just to give it some more detail. Like let's say we want it to be a little bit thinner in the middle for some reason. Like yeah, follow the contours more carefully. And you literally just draw the sword. And this is the way I do it. And then when you go to the other side, you grab a side reference of the sword, or you just make it up. And you would let's say grab this and drag it out this way and start to fill out like the sideways details of how the sword looks. And that's kind of long and short of it, is like use references. You can draw this sword on a piece of paper, scan it, start drawing polygons around it, and that's how you would make your base model. And as it turns out, it's kind of fun and not that hard. Like a lot of people have this idea of like, oh, it's going to be so difficult. So what I did there is I pressed E. They think it's going to be so difficult, but it gets so easy once you know the basics of the controls, right? So you select both of those, E to extrude a face, then escape to go backwards, and then S to shrink. So I'm just shrinking it in place, like right on top. And then E, and then you're like R to rotate, E, R to rotate, and shrink. And yeah, basically like you just keep going like this and you have fun with it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ring select down the middle of this, escape. There we go. We have a perfect middle. I can delete this whole side, press X, vertices. I apologize for my voice. I have such a hoarse throat right now. Now, you see over here the wrench, the spanner, it's called modifiers. Click that. Add modifier. Generate. Mirror. Ta-da! It's automatically generated the whole second half. Now, I turn on clipping usually, so that, yeah, it will clip along the x-axis of the object. Wait, what is the empty? Anyway, you get my point. It's I can grab this GX, boink, GX, grab all these, GX, and just make them merged in the middle. And if you want to make sure that overlapping vertices are going to be joined together, you select all in edit mode, go to mesh, clean up, you can delete loose, you can do all of these things. What we're going to do is merge by distance. 0 removed because I already did the fix, but basically that's it. So yeah, I'm pressing 1 on the numeric keypad again, and we're going to extrude this. Extrude, shrink. Oops, I had too many selected. I'm control Zing basically to make it so escape, S to shrink, E to extrude, E to extrude again, escape, S to shrink, E to extrude. We can go to the middle like this, E to extrude again, and we'll go outward a little bit. And I mean, this is wonky as hell because it's like this sword is kind of off to the side. It's like a plastic sword, but you get the idea. Just have fun with it. Just fart around. So that's not great, but it's something. And then you would just select all, press 3 to go to the right hand side view, or if you're here, you click the little X. It spins you around. Right round, baby. And now you extrude all of these. Press E, and it'll automatically be snapped to the Y direction. So you can just make it a little bit wider. And now we can hold down Z and go to solid view. And look, we've got the beginnings of a sword. That didn't take long at all, right? And like all you do is just keep dividing this. Like if you want this to go forward a little bit, you could select these vertices here, or select this face. You can go to face mode, go pow, and then press E. It'll automatically be along the right axis, and look, you're extruding that way. You can do that with these two. E, extrude a little that way. E, extrude a little that way. And obviously this is not going to be the most optimal thing in the world. Shrink a little bit. But yeah, you can optimize after you've got the basic shapes in. So any references for making swords, I would say this video, but also probably 1,000 great videos out there by much better 3D modelers than I am. But yeah, I think that's the conclusion. We are 7 minutes over time, but I had 7 minutes of no power, so I think that's when I call it. I hope you had fun, and yeah, get out there creating stuff. Yeah. I'm going to stop my stream now.
Good stuff, Lilith.